Neal theorized how films typically follow the basic codes and conventions, but face newer and more unexpected themes in the films. An example of this could be Scary Movie, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans in 2000. The film follows the basic elements of horror with jump scares and blood and gore, but played more as a parody of a typical scary movie with frequent moments of comedy. David Buckingham suggested that genre must respond to socio-economic and cultural change. This means that the films reflect upon greater world issues and add a more in-depth sense of realism. The film Get Out, directed and written by Jordan Peele in 2017, shows an escape-themed horror film, but with underlying references to the issues of slavery and systematic racism faced in America. Daniel Chandler discussed the theory that genre is too suffocating for films and acts as a straitjacket, making the films predictable. He theorized that the basic codes and conventions were boring, and audiences see these films as tedious. An example of this with the horror genre could be the film The Ouija Experiment in 2011, with a rating of 1.4 out of 5 from Letterboxd and 3.2 out of 10 from IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes reviewed the film as underwhelming and low budget, which correlates with what Daniel Chandler discussed, as people find the films underwhelming. Henry Jenkins discussed that genre is constantly broken by hybridization, and therefore films abiding by one specific genre have become redundant. An example of hybridized horror could be The Quiet Place, directed by John Krasinski in 2018, which is a hybridization of both horror and sci-fi, as it includes an element of aliens. Jason Mitchell argued that genre is just a way of exploiting an audience who enjoys certain types of representation. This could include teenagers, which you could look at films such as The Babysitter on Netflix, which depicts characters who are all supposed to be in high school, therefore the film is appealing to teens. John Hartley said that cultural values limit how we read different genres. He argued that genres are agents of ideological closure. You could take this theory and compare it to how women were represented in horror films and how that has changed over the years. Before women were seen as equalized to men, films such as Frankenstein, which premiered 4 years before women got the vote, presented women as submissive and the victims of these films. Taking a look at more recent horror films, such as Bird Box, there is a strong female lead who is shown as the main protagonist of the narrative. This shows how over the years women have changed from being victims to being some of the main protagonists of the film.